The if and the switch statement are known as conditional or selection statements. The if statement evaluates a Boolean expression to determine the course of action. If that expression evaluates to true, then the control of the program is transferred to the first embedded statement. But if that condition evaluates to false, then the control is transferred either to the else statement, if there is one, or to the end of the if statement. So let's take a look at a very simple example of an if statement. What we have here is we have the declaration of an integer variable. We're using that variable within the if condition. So we're saying if x evaluates to 8, and if that condition is true, then I execute the code right in here. And that's a simple if statement. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to append the else here. So this is the optional else. So now, if x is 8, and that does evaluate to true, then I execute the code here. If x is not 8, or if the condition evaluates to false, then the execution transfers right down here and executes what's in the else block. Now do keep in mind that when you do have blocks, you'll want to either put the open block or open brace up at the top or underneath that statement. As long as you have the presence of the open brace, you're fine. Either one will work. Let's take a little bit of a look at a switch statement. While a simple if statement handles a true or a false evaluation, a switch statement handles multiple choice. You can use switch statements to evaluate integers, characters, enumerations, and strings. But unlike Java and C++, you've got to ensure that the last statement associated with a set of case labels doesn't allow control to reach to the next set of case statements. You're going to start to see in the examples the use of a break statement. This helps fulfill the requirement of C# that you don't fall through one case and go to another. This is an example of a switch statement. Notice you've got some kind of expression that you're evaluating up here, and you've got several cases which determine the value of that condition. So if that condition evaluates to this value, you'll execute the code in the case. Now don't forget that if the value is value 1, you'll want to execute the code in here, but you'll also want to break so that you don't fall through to the other cases. If the value evaluates to value 2, then you'll execute the code inside that case and you'll break again. Default is optional. That's kind of like an else in an if statement. So if the condition is not value 1 or value 2, then you can execute whatever's under default. But please remember that you'll also need a break here as well.